She was back in the district at this event. We tried again.
I also wanted to ask you about the investigation into your families. But this is also part of her congressional duties. Congresswoman, you know, you're under investigation for the congressional ethics for violation of campaign finances. Congresswoman, this is your district. You have to answer to these people. Congresswoman.
Attorneys for her family's healthcare company aren't answering the I-Team's questions either. And the Department of Emergency Management says they won't comment on ongoing litigation, leaving taxpayers and her constituents wondering what happened to those millions.
Several months later.
Start with breaking news now at 7. A federal grand jury in Miami has returned an indictment charging Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick with stealing federal disaster funds, laundering the proceeds, and using the money to support her 2021 congressional campaign. According to the indictment, Cherfilus-McCormick and her brother, both from Miramar, worked through their family health care company on a FEMA-funded COVID-19 vaccination staffing contract back in 2021. It says the company received an overpayment of $5 million and routed the money through multiple accounts to disguise its source. We'll have much more on this breaking news tonight on CBS News Miami at 11.
Boy. So we got to talk about Ratchet. Democratic Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick, who has been indicted for allegedly stealing over $5 million in FEMA funds and laundering some of the funds to her campaign. Now, I want to talk about this because I'm not calling this woman Ratchet because she's black, right? I'm calling her Ratchet because she claims that she's ratchet. She admitted that she's a ratchet member of Congress.
I'm a little ratchet, you know, we're from Florida.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So,
what song do you listen to when you're getting ready for a speech? What empowers you? What gets you going?
right now, the song that I like, but I mean, I'm a little ratchet, you know, we're from Florida.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
So,
you know,
a lot of JT songs, you know, I be.
You a JT fan?
Sure, I'm from Florida.
Girl.
If you know, you know.
I know.
So, yes.
Okay, now speaking from a person who is a small business owner and does social media and is part of the middle class, what is the CBC doing to combat the tariffs, especially when it comes to minorities, because we will be highly affected in that area more than anyone else?
I mean, the biggest attack we saw for our small businesses has been this anti-diversity, equity, inclusion. There's how can I say, there's a myth that they try to associate that black businesses don't deserve the contracts that they're getting, which is totally false. We work actually harder. So protecting small businesses, making sure that they are actually given a fair chance without now being discriminated under this anti-DEI policy is so important. But also we're making sure that the actual products that they have access to is available. When you talk about tariffs and what they're doing with the tariffs, trying to tax everything, that's really going to put our small businesses in a bind, because a lot of the different goods that they sell actually are being sold to the community, and it's actually making the community thrive. So we're fighting on every front to make sure that we're protecting our black businesses.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that. Her words, not mine, right? Now, this woman was under investigation for potential campaign finance violations. And I want to play this news clip of her being confronted about this controversy earlier this year. Now, keep in mind, again, this is a congresswoman, a sitting member of Congress from South Florida. Okay. And I want to go ahead and get into this because, again, there's been questions about the nearly $6 million in taxpayer money that was overpaid to her family's company. Okay, and how that money got shuffled into her campaign fund. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Quidantes.
And I'm Jim Grimes.
Tonight, an update on a growing controversy involving Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick and the nearly $6 million in taxpayer money overpaid to her company, Trinity Healthcare Services, for its work assisting with the state's COVID response.
Yeah, for weeks now, our Victoria DeCardenas has been trying to get some answers from the Congresswoman about where the money went when she was the CEO of Trinity.
Now she has tried again. Victoria, how did it go?
Let me set the stage for you. The Congresswoman was doing a ribbon cutting for a new business here in Riviera Beach, just down the street from our news station, which made this my first opportunity to ask what happened to these millions of dollars face to face. Florida's Department of Emergency Management is suing Trinity Healthcare Services because the state accidentally overpaid invoices to the tune of more than $5.7 million. And when they asked the company to return those tax dollars, they claim they got no response. Weeks after the lawsuit was filed, Trinity's attorneys told the I-Team they did respond, but the state ignored them. The overpayments occurred in the spring of 2021, while Cherfilus-McCormick was the CEO of Trinity, her family's company. She left the job soon afterwards to run for Congress and eventually won the seat formerly held by Alcee Hastings. But the Office of Congressional Ethics has been investigating her campaign finances, and she reported to them she got a $6 million raise from Trinity in 2021. And just days after Trinity was overpaid by $5 million, Cherfilus-McCormick personally loaned her congressional campaign committee $2 million. And she reported making more large loans after that. We tried to get answers from the Congresswoman before, but since she was back in the district at this event, we tried again.
I also wanted to ask you about the investigation into your families, but this is also part of her congressional duties. Congresswoman, you know, you're under investigation for the congressional ethics for violation of campaign finances.
Wow.
Congresswoman, this is your district. You have to answer to these people.
Wow. Wow.
Congresswoman.
Attorneys for her family's healthcare company.
Wow. Wow. We got to replay that. We have to replay this. Look at her face, bruh. Look at her face when she's confronted with this question. Just look at her face.
Back in the district at this event, we tried again.
I also wanted to ask you about the investigation into your families, but this is also part of her congressional duties. Congresswoman, you know, you're under investigation.
Hey, guilty as hell. Guilty. Guilty. This woman going to jail. She going to jail. She going to prison, right? To be more accurate. Apparently, she can face up to 50 plus years in prison for this. 50 plus years. She guilty as hell. I can just tell from the look on her face, that interaction just says guilty. Guilty. I don't even know anything else. Guilty, right? Guilty.
And for the congressional ethics for violation of campaign finances. Congresswoman, this is your district. You have to answer to these people. Congresswoman.
Attorneys for her family's healthcare company aren't answering the I-Team's questions either. And the Department of Emergency Management says they won't comment on ongoing litigation, leaving taxpayers and her constituents wondering what happened to those millions. One piece of new information we do have tonight is that this case is going to mediation, so it's out of the courts for now. Attorney Mark Rosen of LaBelle Rosen, who is not involved in this case, says all that means is a person who is certified by the state will work with both parties to resolve the dispute out of court. If they reach a settlement, Rosen expects it will be made public because it's the people's money. If they can't come to an agreement, it could wind up back in court.
Yeah, see that you heard that. Now, fast forward to today. This woman has been indicted. So let's read here. Representative Sheila Cherfilus-McCormick was indicted by a federal grand jury in Florida for allegedly stealing $5 million in FEMA overpayments to her company and funneling some of the money into her congressional campaign. Cherfilus-McCormick faces up to 53 years in prison if convicted, Justice Department prosecutors said in a press release announcing the indictment. The Florida Democrat has been under investigation by House ethics watchdogs since 2023 over alleged improper donations to the special election campaign that first got her elected to Congress. A Cherfilus-McCormick spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request for comment, though the Congresswoman has previously denied wrongdoing in relation to the congressional ethics probes into her. The indictment alleges that Cherfilus-McCormick and her brother received a $5 million overpayment in 2021 as part of a FEMA-funded COVID vaccination staffing contract to their family healthcare company, according to prosecutors from the Southern District of Florida. Yeah, so again, this was while she was CEO. She received an overpayment of taxpayer funds, and when asked to give the funds back, right, she was like, well, we ain't really got the money, right? And allegedly, okay, Cherfilus-McCormick and co-defendants then laundered the money, and a substantial portion of it went to her campaign. So Cherfilus-McCormick is known to have loaned her 2021 campaign $3.7 million, but eventually repaid $2 million of that. Cherfilus-McCormick was already facing a 2026 primary challenge from 26-year-old teacher Elijah Manley, who has based his campaign on allegations of corruption against her. Manley outraged Cherfilus-McCormick between July and September of this year, bringing in $114,000 in donations to her $68,000. Yeah, so I think this woman is cooked, right? She's cooked. My only gripe here is that it should have been Jasmine Crockett. Why couldn't it have been Jasmine Crockett? If we were going to get a ratchet Democrat, we should have got the #1 ratchet. Should have been Jasmine Crockett, right? But I'll take this woman as a consolation prize. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised at all. Ratchets do what ratchets do, right? She claims that she listens to ratchet music, so clearly she's influenced by ratchet people, and she's participating in these type of behaviors. I'm not surprised at all. Money laundering, stealing taxpayer funds, par for the course when it comes to Democrats. So we're gonna see, right? We're gonna see. I don't know. I mean, like, to me, it seems pretty straightforward that this woman's cooked, that she's definitely going to prison. I just want to see how Democrats are going to defend this, right? Because apparently you're not supposed to criticize a black woman, right? Because black women never do anything wrong. But every time you look, they always get caught up in a fraud scheme, right? It's the same pattern over and over and over again. This is why they don't want you to criticize them, right? Because they're always doing some stuff like this, right? This is what black Democrats are always up to. So we're going to see what happens. But my gut feeling tells me that this woman is going to jail for a long, long, long time. Unless some Democrat wins and then, you know, she gets pardoned or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I think that she's cooked, right? I think that she's done. It's pretty cut and dry what happened here. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.